Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big round of applause for Ed, because he has been, putting a big smile on our faces for We Give Something. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for joining us and giving us your beautiful music.
Thank you.
Okay, so excited to see everyone here. We're going to get started. And first of all, I am going to pass it to someone that has been believing in this idea, believing in the whole collective giving movement from the very, very, very get-go. Well, first of all, I didn't introduce myself. My God, that's so rude. My name is Sara Lomelin. I'm the executive director of Philanthropy Together. I think I have met everyone here, but if I haven't met you, it's like, we're all family here. So continuing, I am going to pass it to Victoria Brana, the Deputy Director of Giving by All and the giving ecosystem for the philanthropic partnership team at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. From the years ago, Victoria was the very first person to believe in the power of getting all the giving circles and all the networks together. So it's a pleasure and an honor for us to have you here, Vic.
Thanks so much, Sarah. I just have to congratulate you and your team on an amazing summit. It's quite a challenge to put together a virtual event that like actually brings people together like this and gets out so much content. You guys have done a tremendous job. I know it's not over yet, but it really is amazing. Big hand of applause. I'm looking forward to like for the next foreseeable month of Fridays. I'm like want to go see all the content that I haven't been able to catch because it's been so rich and so many great points of view and voices. So I'm Victoria Rana, as Sarah said. I'm Deputy Director at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation on the Philanthropic Partnership Team. And for those of you who don't know our team, our mission is about increasing the quantity and quality of giving by all donors, from the everyday donor to the ultra high net worth donor. We have a number of different ways that we do that, but our support for Philanthropy Together really falls into our everyday giving portfolio that Sarah mentioned, giving by all. And, you know, I definitely was not the first person to believe in the power of getting all these organizations together. And as you know, if you participate in a giving circle or you've started a giving circle or you're thinking about a giving circle, you know, that power really comes from everyone and everyone believing in it. But I did have the good fortune back in November of 2017. I had to check in with Sarah and Isis today because the pandemic just like did a number on my memory of time, right? It's like we all lost a year. But back in 2017, I'll just take you back there for a moment. It was my last trip of the year. I travel a lot for work and it was like, oh, one more plane, one more trip. It was November, it was Michigan. So not great weather. I was like, get out the big jacket, get ready for this cold place. And I had been invited to come and see this gathering of all the Giving Circle networks to get together to envision what was possible together. And, you know, probably like many of you, I've been in a lot of meetings and a lot of rooms, and especially rooms and meetings where you're bringing lots of stakeholders together. Some people know each other, some people don't. They do similar things, they do kind of different things. And, you know, it's often hard to get to the place where you're like creating a shared vision, right? There's just a lot going on, especially with new people who are coming together under those circumstances. And I was really a fly on the wall in this thing, right? I wasn't an active participant, hadn't organized it, anything else. And it was the most collaborative group of people I had ever seen in my life. Like I would have thought this was a group of people that had worked together for like 10 years, you know, and really many people were meeting for the first time. But as you, again, if you know giving circles, you may know that kind of collaboration and collective spirit, and let's just get together and try and see what we have in common for good is just like so at the heart of the Giving Circle movement. And I was frankly just astounded at how quickly this group of people over like a day and a half came up with this shared vision and mission. There also was a big component. There was research that had been done on collective giving and giving circles, and the researchers were sharing their findings, and the practitioners were saying, wow, that's really interesting, you know, taking notes, like, and also saying, well, what about this? And did you research this? And did you ask this? And again, those of you who know our sector, like sometimes the research is really removed from the people doing the work. It's very academic, it's very dry, and the people doing the work need data and don't have it. And so there's this connection from the start between the research and the people doing the work that was really amazing to see. So then this group went off, and they had an opportunity and a vision, which is amazing to get to in like a day and a half. But then they were going to collectively create a plan on how to make this work, which again is like really ambitious. It was one of the most collaborative strategic plans I've ever seen, you know, in my career. The amount of people consulted and engaged and involved, and usually that doesn't always, you know, it's kind of hard to get to like a really crystal clear plan sometimes when you're really going that broad. And the plan on how to completely just explode the Giving Circle movement, it was like crystal clear from the start and so thoughtful and so well made. So I've just had the fortune of sitting back and like getting to put some fuel to this rocket because it has been incredible to watch. And then again, for those of you who know, like Philanthropy Together, it launches and there's like a global pandemic a few months later. It's kind of a hard time to launch a big, ambitious movement and scale and everything else kind of plan. It's a little challenging for all of us who've been through this last year. And yet this team is just like completely adapted. And I think it just taps into that heart of, again, kind of the collective giving spirit, right? You tap into your network, you tap into your community, you tap into your people, and you just make it work, and you get the resources to the people who need them. And that's what it's ultimately about. And I think, the mission is more critical now than ever. I mean, collective giving, it has the potential to transform all of philanthropy, and has been in many ways for so long in these different places, circle by circle, network by network. Start to connect up all those circles and all those networks, and the potential is amazing, right? The collective giving balances power from institutional and individual donors. And that's essential for our time right now, is to have that kind of balance of power as we move forward, and to get resources to those who are most proximate to the issues that we're trying to tackle. Giving circles are beautifully, beautifully positioned to do that and to bring organizations the resources they need. But I think, just being around giving circles in the movement now for a little while, I'd also say that they're just as important for the donors. Participating in a giving circle brings you joy. It brings you connection, it brings you community, it brings you fellowship. And if there's anything we've needed in this last year, we know we need each other. We cannot do these things alone, and we can't tackle what we have to do alone. So I think the time is now, and the Giving Circle movement, the collective giving movement, is completely poised to take all of this forward. I'm so excited about the new connections that have been made here in the last few weeks. And I just, my hat is off to you and all the incredible work. But I think you've got the heart to move this forward in a way that can change things for so many on the front lines trying to get the work done.
Thank you, Vic. Thank you for those words. And I love that you went back to that meeting in Michigan, because yes, it was cold. But as you said, we couldn't be doing this work with better people than the people that are involved in giving circles. I think this month and the past few months, every time where people are talking about how innovative and nimble and flexible giving circles are, is yes, it's the way everyday givers work. And that is just, for me, it's an honor to be doing this work. And I always said that I landed the job of my dreams. So thank you so much for your words, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. And now we're going to continue, and I'm very excited to share a message that our friend Tim Shriver, chair of the Special Olympics and founder of Unite, is sending for our whole field. So let's watch the video.
It's a great honor for me to join you today, remotely, sadly, but nonetheless, for the very important topics you're convened to work on, that I've been thinking about, praying about, struggling with for the last year, of course, but in some ways for my whole life. I'm joining you from San Francisco, where my daughter just had a baby today. I don't know what day you'll see this, but I hope you'll feel in me the great anticipation and joy that comes from new life. And in some ways, I want that to be my message. I want to start with a quote, if I could, from the late Michael Collins, who just died recently, the astronaut who went on the Apollo 11 mission, but didn't actually land on the moon. He circled the moon and took some of the world's most famous photographs of the lunar module and the Earth and the moon all in the same picture. And the astronaut, Michael Collins, said, as he looked at the Earth at a distance, and I'm quoting now, "The thing that really surprised me was that the Earth, projected an air of fragility. And why, I don't know. I don't know to this day. I had a feeling it's tiny, it's shiny, it's beautiful, it's home, and it's fragile. I invite you to let that word fragile sink in, not as a challenge to you or maybe even to us at this moment, but that's the word that the astronaut used to describe the entirety of our planet and all of us on it, fragile. In my own experience the last year, I think the word fragile has come up over and over again. As we face this pandemic, as we face the equally horrific pandemic of racism and inequalities in our culture, the pandemic of divisiveness and hatred in our culture, the pandemic that have long been working to divide us from one another. And I think of that word fragile. And I think to myself, there is a pandemic of grief in our time. But we're not just grieving the loss of life, although that we grieve. And we're not just grieving the injustice that so many of our brothers and sisters face in our country and in other countries around the world, although that too we grieve. For many of us, I sense we're grieving the loss of hope. The sense in which maybe there isn't something bigger out there for us, that maybe we won't be able to overcome these divisions, that maybe our country, even our planet, won't make it. That's a deep grief. And I challenge you today, not just to name it, not just to sense it, not just to notice it if you don't feel it yourself, but also to commit yourself to healing that grief. We are a fragile planet. The earth is fragile. Our democracy is fragile. Hope itself is fragile. And we convene with a particularly and urgently needed challenge. In our small group, Unite, we just founded just a year ago to try to bring out the voices of those who can bring us together. We are fond of remembering the Cherokee story. Some of you may have heard it, where the child goes to the elder and says, I feel like there's a war going on inside of me. There's good things that I want to do, and then there's bad things I want to do. And the elder turns to the child and said, there's a good wolf within you. The good wolf wants peace and tranquility and justice and harmony. But there's a bad wolf in you also. The bad wolf is dominated by fear and anger and ego and hostility. And the child says to the elder, which wolf will win? And the elder responds, the one you feed. Our work, our shared work, I dare say, is to find new ways to feed the good wolf. To feed the wolf that restores a sense of trust and belonging and purpose to our culture. The good wolf that names and faces inequalities and injustices, but does so without shaming and victimizing and demonizing our brothers and sisters on either side. It's a good wolf that ends to end the fear and contempt of others. That is the fear and contempt that destroys the possibility of trust, that wounds the hope that we might someday all belong together, that mocks us when we think there's a possibility of something bigger, of true justice, of love. We live in a country that is now facing the legitimization, I dare say the weaponization of outrage and contempt. And in some ways, the delegitimation of love and compassion. Isn't that something? People who believe in love and compassion, justice and belonging, they're mocked. People who are full of contempt, hatred, demonization, they're celebrated. That's a formula that can't work. So I hope that in this summit, we as philanthropists, as people who benefit from philanthropy, can see, I dare say, almost a new type of giver and a new type of gift. to address the pain point, the spiritual crisis of our time, which is this grief, this tremendous fragility of us. You know, we love self-determination in our country. We love self-control, self-regulation. We love the principles that motivate each one of us individually. We love the idea of the individual as being his or her own center of goodness. I love all of that. I love seeing young people develop agency, force, voice. I love people discovering that they are beautiful just as they are. I love watching the Special Olympics athlete cross the finish line in second or third place with his arms up in the air, not ashamed of anything, fully owning his or her own beauty. But I think we need to complement that hunger for the expression of the self with the realization that we also need something bigger, that it is that beautiful self that each of us has that must be contained in a larger whole, that to find our true selves, at some level, we have to give ourselves away. Isn't that what philanthropy teaches us? Isn't that what our social justice movements challenge us to embody? Isn't that why we're here? Because we're ready now more than ever to give ourselves to a purpose larger than ourselves, be it justice, be it the preservation of the earth, be it the elevating of the voices of the oppressed, be it the bringing together of warring factions to find peace. These are greater purposes than any one of us. And yet they give us the best of what each of us can be. We need a new kind of giving, a giving that gives more to the healers than to the fighters. Maybe even check our language. Do we really want to be fighting all the time for our causes? Or do we want to be working for our causes, joining together for our causes, bringing out the best in each of us for our causes? I invite you to think maybe a little bit differently in these days about the possibility of uniting. It's not impossible, my brothers and sisters. We do not need to abandon hope. We have many examples among us, probably on this screen at this conference. There are hundreds of examples of people who have found the most transformative ideas. I think in my own background, I think of my dad generating the patterns for the Peace Corps. What was the Peace Corps? If nothing else, it was the idea that every human being that came from the United States would meet on equal territory, in equal turf, to learn the language of the other, to live in community with the other, to come to understand the other, to build common purpose with the other. A magnificent example of uniting. I think of my years with Special Olympics athletes. I've mentioned them already. Geniuses at uniting, overcoming the fear, the isolation, the separation that they've experienced their whole lives, rejected over and over again. And yet what do? They come back, they try again. They give us a chance, the rest of us a chance, to end our fear of difference. We've got a lot of work to do, but we can do this. We can not only learn the patterns, the new kinds of institutional building patterns, learn ways to build new kinds of organizations that bring people together, that focus on self-compassion and listening and forgiveness and authenticity and justice seeking and agency, but do them all in new organizations that create common purpose around our hopes and dreams for a more just and a more equal future. I leave you again with Michael Collins. Imagine him now soaring through the universe, but imagine him then, a couple of 100,000 miles from the earth, just looking down and saying, I don't know why, but the word that came to me was fragile. The causes we believe in so deeply are fragile. Our country is fragile, and the earth is indeed fragile. Perhaps now, in this time, as we try to come out of COVID, we might find ways to recognize and listen deeply to one another, not so that we will all agree, but so that we will all find a place for the unique gifts that is each of us. Maybe we can unite, not so we can all be the same, but so that the world can be safe for all of us, each of us. And maybe in the end, we can build that future of greater justice and joy, not by making sure that one group is defeated. In my view, The future doesn't belong either to Republicans or Democrats. The future belongs to uniters. I hope each of you will find the path to uniting both yourself with your best self, but uniting our country in pursuit of the justice we so desperately need. Thank you.
I mean, come on, right? I mean, that was such an amazing message. And, in the background, our whole team is slacking, and we have all listened to this message before, but the more you listen to it, the more we like it, and the power that it has, right? So I just want to put out there, how can we unite for greater justice and joy? How can giving circles fuel that future? Like, think about those questions. Like, put in the chat, what were you thinking while you were listening to Tim's message? And for what are we going to do next? I just want for you to think about that, right? So how can we unite for greater justice and joy? How can giving circles fuel that future? And now, what I want to do is I'm going to introduce my incredible team. I couldn't be prouder of all of them, of the work that they do every single day. And I ask each of them to just, share in 30 seconds, not exactly what they do at Philanthropy Together, but to think about a value that is part of their life, and how can that value has translated in what they do in Philanthropy Together or outside. They can pick. So first off, we have here the wonderful Ilyasa and Shabazz, our senior manager for marketing and community. Ilyasa.
Yes, thank you, Sada. So as Sada said, I am Ilyasa and Shabazz. I'm the Senior Manager of Marketing and Community at Philanthropy Together. And the one value that I wanted to share in all of these sessions throughout We Give Summit, we've heard about trust-based philanthropy. And as a marketer and in communications, I really lead with integrity in making sure that as I'm sharing stories of giving circles or of anyone in my work with Philanthropy Together or outside of Philanthropy Together, that I really know the people who I am sharing their story, that I have permission to tell their story and to share their photos and all of that. So my value is integrity.
Thank you, Ilyasa. Thank you. And next, let's bring up, Kaison, just surprise me. You are the tech lead in this, and this is totally fine. Okay, you're there.
I'm here.
So, yes. So, everyone, this is Kaison Buntuwong, our awesome Director of Development and Partnerships.
Hi, everyone. Met a ton of you, so great to see you here. My value is community. I was a former NCAA gymnast, and I had a very strong team back in college. And even before that, all the different club teams that I was a part of. Community really drove me to excellence, to do anything that I didn't really think I could do at the end of the day. So for me, just having the bonds that I built, the relationships that I built really fuel not only my personal work outside of Philanthropy Together and philanthropy, but just life. I think we're stronger together, which is why we chose that theme for the summit. And I really believe that it'll unite us to really create a stronger movement in the coming years. So thank you all for being here and being a part of this wonderful community.
Thank you, Kaison. Now let's bring up, who are you going to bring up? Okay, Yaira. Yaira Covering, she's our, I always messed up with the title, Yaira. Please tell us.
Yeah, I
Yaira
can
is in New
introduce
York.
myself. I'm in New York. I am the Strategy and Operations Associate. The way you know we did not plan this in advance is that my value is also community. And I grew up in a very close-knit Jewish community. One of my earliest memories is going with my grandfather to deliver Sabbath meals to homebound elderly. So I would say that my value is community, but especially giving back to community and uniting community. So some of the work I've been doing during the summit is managing our community forum. So if you've seen any posts from Philanthropy Together, I am, you know, the wizard behind the curtain, but really just the value that really grounds me and really pushes a lot of the work that I do, both at work and at home, is just community and bringing people together and giving back to that community.
Thank you, Yaira. Then let's call Alisa.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa Glenn. I am based in Atlanta, and I am the Programs and Operations Associate as well. I think a value that's really been instilled in me is resilience. I've just had an amazing example of what resilience looks like, especially having parents who have migrated from Jamaica and hearing and seeing the obstacles that they face and having all these odds against them, and still, you know, seeing it through has definitely translated in my life as I progress in adulthood and in different spaces, in different creative spaces outside of philanthropy. For example, I'm an actor outside of this, and constantly hearing no's and just having to have a sense of confidence to know that you can do it has definitely been a value that I live by.
Thank you, Alisa. Where's Ty?
Hey,
Ty.
y'all. All the way from Dallas, Texas. I am Taisha Wilson, and I have the true pleasure of serving as the Director of Engagement at Philanthropy Together. And honestly, my word is service. Like, when I think about my role as a mom of 5, that's why you hear all the background noise, as a wife, as a sister, as a friend, as a colleague, as a philanthropist, service is truly in the center of everything that I do and how I operate. Whether I'm giving my husband a facial every month, or serving my kids home cooked meals, or organizing here in my local community in Dallas, voting events and showing up for protests. I love to serve. It is in my heart. It's the way that I lead, servant leadership. And that is truly a human truth of mine. And I hope to project that out and instill it in my children. So
Thank you, Ty.
Welcome.
And then let's bring my partner in crime, Isis Krause.
No, that I was going to have to go. Hi, everyone. I'm Isis. Official title, partner in crime, secondary title, strategic advisor with SADA. It's been an amazing ride. I'm going to say excellence. I feel like we've tried so hard on this project just to bring our best every day, even in the middle of a global pandemic. And I think the proof is in the pudding. We've been able to do amazing work together. I try to do a lot of great work. This is not my only client and my only work that I do in general. So I really try to strive to bring my best to all of my work and to all of my interactions with everybody. And SADA and team, there's nobody better than doing it with all of you.
Thank you, Isis. I just wanted everyone to meet, you know, the team of literally rock stars that are behind, you know, the We Give Summit and Philanthropy Together. And now we're going to do, Victoria, you know, talked about a lot about the background of how Philanthropy Together got to, you know, to get started, right? I just want to bring this slide up because it fills my heart with love and joy. And I know Paula Liang is here in the group. And actually, we all need to thank Paula for having Tim Shriver here today. I like, well, his message here, because she was the intellectual author of that. So anyway, this is a picture of that co-design year, that co-design project. We had hundreds of Zoom hours before Zoom was even popular. We brought, you know, many voices. We brought about 100 voices, 100 opinions into creating what Philanthropy Together is today. However, you know, right now we have met so many incredible people this year that we have been in action. And Philanthropy Together exists because, to serve all of you, newcomers to Giving Circles, people that have been part of Giving Circles for years, academics, researchers, funders, the whole collective giving ecosystem. So this is the opportunity for you to get involved in the future of the collective field, in the future of our programming. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear your opinion. We want you to engage with us. So I'm going to invite Isis, and we are going to just talk a little bit about what we were able to do last year of all these beautiful plans that we put together in 2019. Pandemic or not pandemic, we were right on track. So, beautiful mission of having a full group of passionate individuals that are giving intentionally to see the change they want to see in the world. Our mission, again, to democratize and diversify philanthropy through the power of Giving Circles. Our values from the very get-go has been equity, trust, learning, being very, flexible, iterative, nimble, and to build that, party that we all want to attend. We have a beautiful theory of change, but it's super long, so you can go and check on that link later. Something that was amazing to see was that we are part of this global movement, right? Not only in the US, that the collective giving movement is growing globally. This is our bold goal, one of the bold goals that we have for the next 5 years, and you all are part of this. Isis, I don't see you.
Sorry, I was chatting everyone that this is our impact report, and you should all check it out, impact.philanthropytogether.org. So the 4 ways that we focused on doing it, and we'd love to ground you all in this thinking so that when we keep dreaming for the future, you can be grounded in these thoughts. So showcasing is all about spreading awareness around Giving Circles. Scaling is the actual number of Giving Circles we want to grow. Strengthen is supporting all the existing Giving Circles out there. And sustaining is, as it sounds, strengthening and sustaining the entire field. So on the showcase front, we've highlighted literally dozens of circles. Ilyasa has been hard at work spotlighting everybody out there. And Sara, you want to share the amazing AP news?
Oh my God, just last week, we had a story highlighting Muhi from the American Muslim Community Foundation and the work that Muslim Giving Circles are doing around Ramadan. And it got picked by the Associated Press. And then it got picked by more than 230 news outlets. So, the power of, our movement, so many thousands of people now know a little bit more about Giving Circles. So we want to keep highlighting stories about the amazing work that you all are doing.
Amazing. And already we've managed to get over 5 million media impressions in the first year, in the middle of a lot of other competing news stories, as you all know. So sky's the limit really on what we can do for spreading awareness around this movement. We also build whatisagivingcircle.com. I think a lot of you know about it, but if you don't, it's this amazing, super fun website, sort of like this impact report that goes through what a Giving Circle is in a really fun way. So you can share this with people. If they don't know what a Giving Circle is, they can learn about it. And we actually just translated it into Spanish, which is also amazing. So you can click on that there and read all about Giving Circles in Spanish and share it with a broader audience as well. We're really trying to think globally, and it's been super fun to enable ourselves to do that. Next up is all around scaling. So already we've trained over 200 people to start their own Giving Circle through our Launchpad program, which is amazing. You can see here all of the literally dozens and dozens of states and countries that we've been able to reach through the program, which is phenomenal. We have a version called Launchpad for Hosts, which has trained over 30 host institutions to start their own Giving Circles, and those are getting up and running. And we have a partner version so that anyone can take our program and give it to their our own community. So that's been super exciting. And our bold goal that you know is to start over 800 circles by the time the 5 years is up. So we're well on our way with 200 folks trained. We know not all of them will start giving circles, but it's planting the seed in a lot of folks' mind. And we're very excited to keep that work moving on over the coming years. And there's some great stories on here that you should all check out about some of the circles that have already started.
Then, you know, we started to have pop-up giving circles. The pop-up giving circles was started by Amplifier. And we have been doing some pop-up giving circles with different tech companies to, you know, to engage their team members. And we, something super exciting, we are going to be starting to do pop-up giving circles with celebrities. So, you know, stay tuned. In the next few weeks, we're going to have the first one. You can actually join right now, right? Isis, you can sign up to be part of those
now. So I would love for all of you Giving Circle advocates to be there. Trevor Noah is the first celebrity we're doing this with, and we're doing this in concert with the Elevate Prize Foundation, and hopefully we'll do more as well. So there's 5 great topics: educational equity, teachers and educators, STEM and STEM learning, girls education, and early childhood development. So we'll have some great speakers, spotlight great organizations, and hope to bring a lot more people into the collective giving movement. Quickly moving on Strengthen, we've done some amazing communities of practice, one around racial equity that we're continuing on in the fall with new content. We did the first one in partnership with the Community Investment Network and Community Build Ventures, and we'll bring a lot more speakers this year. We did another one all around storytelling to help Giving Circles strengthen their storytelling, which was phenomenal. Gave out a lot of $1,000 support gifts to different Giving Circles for them to embed racial equity further in their work. And we have some good funding left to be able to offer that more this year, which was really exciting. We have a ton of content on our Philanthropy Together YouTube channel, so check that out if you're looking to get more resources about how to do your work in a Giving Circle better. And then on the sustain front, before we open it up to discussion, we've really tried to build a very supportive, robust, full ecosystem. So we launched the first ever global Giving Circle directory with our partners at Grapevine. This is embeddable, so any website, it can look like this on literally any website. You can search the over 2,000 Giving Circles that are out there right now. You can sort by topic area. You can sort by the amount of money committed. You can search by audience. You can search by network. So lots of amazing ways of being able to tap into this movement and join a Giving Circle. And if you know anyone that wants to embed this website, please reach out to us. Would love to embed this in a lot of other places. And then lastly, we put on We Give Summit, which is the largest ever field-wide convening around collective giving. We have over 1,000 people who have attended various sessions. We have, I don't know, 130 speakers, something ridiculous, 50 sessions. It's been amazing and incredible and phenomenal, and went a little bit crazier than we ever thought it would, but it's been amazing. Thank you all so much for joining us here.
Yes, and you know, just to recap this, all these beautiful faces here at the end of our impact report are part of our brain trust and our, you know, the people that we work very closely. So, you know, we would love to have tons of pictures here to have your ideas, your input. What do you want to see Philanthropy Together do in terms of programming? What do you need for your Giving Circle, et cetera, et cetera. So quickly, because my God, time really flies when we're having fun. We are going to chat a link, and we're going to go on a Jamboard, and we want to hear from you. So, you know, thinking about that question from Tim, and think, how can we further showcase and scale Giving Circles globally?
And if you haven't used Jamboard, it's just like any other virtual Post-it note tool. You just click on this little Post-it note icon here. You can type in, let's do a joint global advocacy campaign. That's an idea I've been having. And then you click save and your post-it note will come up here. So would love to see different people write ideas here. And then up here at the top, if you click next, you go to the second one, which is all about strengthening and sustaining. So the first page and the first brainstorm we'll quickly do is around growing this, trying to have many, many, many more people in the Giving Circle movement. How can we do that? What are your big ideas? And then the second page is for the existing movement. How can we help everyone do their work in a stronger, more equitable, more amazing, more sustainable way, and have the entire ecosystem be stronger? So add ideas to either one of these and we'll see what comes up and we'll take that back. And to note, this is not our only chance that we'll get to do this. We're planning on doing some more open listening tour workshops with folks if you want to invite other feedback, but would love to hear from everybody what your ideas are. Any challenges getting in here? You just click on the post-it, type what you'd like. Perfect.
Isis, do you want us to put our name on the post-it?
Yeah, names would be great if you'd like to, if you don't, if you feel comfortable doing that, and if not, no problem. Okay, I'll read some of these as they come in. Connect with key anchor institutions like universities, tap into knowledge youth existing community. I love that. Partner with high schools and colleges and run programming for younger folks. Let's start giving circles with alumni associations. Amazing. So I think all of these are really tapping into existing communities. Write a joint op-ed about how giving circles are the solution to the pressing problem of philanthropic dollars sitting on the sidelines. I love that. Warehousing staffs. Reaching local broadcasting channels. That's great. Cryptocurrency giving circles. Kaisen, I love that. That's amazing. Let's see, promote innovations within the field, addition to best practices, which has been well done here. Yes, I love that. I feel like this field is ripe for further innovation. It's already strong there. These are all amazing ideas. Thank you.
What about ideas on how do we jump into the mainstream more than, one is the pop-ups with celebrities, et cetera, and, being in different publications. But if anyone has, a contact with Oprah.
I love that. This person wrote how to find a giving circle guide for individuals who are interested but don't know where to find a circle. Yes, and hopefully the directory can help with that. Work with employee resource groups at big companies to help folks give back. Yes, those are the pop-up giving circles we've been doing, which has been amazing. At one of them at Google, we raised literally over $30,000 in a 90-minute session through a Black ERG. So it's just amazing what we can do if we have the right community. Be intentional about building and expanding relationships with community foundations. Thank you, Michael. I love that. Hopefully our For Host program can help with that and we can make that even bigger. Giving Circle podcast. That's fun. I know Ilyasa's either will love that or hate that. We'll talk afterwards. Consider connecting to all of the relational organizing groups that came out of the Biden-Harris campaign. They're ready to go. I love that. That's a great idea. Find volunteer groups and invite them also to start a giving circle. So there's lots of sort of partnerships here that I'm seeing. There's lots about tapping into existing associations and groups. So I love that. I'll do a little organizing while you all click on this next arrow and
giving circles. Yeah.
Go to page 2.
Giving days.
And let's do the same thing in our last few minutes here. So this is all for people in the movement already, all the thousands of giving circles that exist. How can we strengthen their work and sustain that stronger? Click on this little up arrow up here and you should be able to do that.
Think about for that next Jamboard, think about research, think about, convenings, think about sharing best practices. What is something that your giving circle does extremely well that you can share with other giving circles, or something that you may be lacking that you would love someone to, to help you with? Isis, can you share the other? Oh no, you're fine. Sorry. I'm going to start just moving them.
Okay,
are people having trouble getting into the second page because we are only seeing one?
You just click on the little top arrow here next to the slide where it says 1 of 2, and then you click on 2 of 2.
And if you're still having trouble with the Post-its, you can put it in the Zoom chat, and I'm happy to put it on a Post-it for you.
Okay, Michael says, use academic meetings which draw upon international audiences. Love that. Arnova, I know Angie Eikenberry, who's a big researcher in this space and helped with the initial pieces. That's great. They need your energy and practicality. Campaign matching funding from large foundations. We've also been talking about how to get the high net worth folks and individuals to sort of fuel their funding through giving circles. Spa days, I love that. Retreats for giving circles. Arrange for in-person meetups of giving circles within local regions and communities. That's a beautiful idea, whoever wrote that. Corporate giving circle best practice webinar. That's really fun. Giving circle parties. Yeah. Warehouse of successes or best practices where giving circles can share what they are good at with others. Yeah, that's great. So we have our community forum if folks haven't seen or heard that yet. So that's just community.philanthropytogether.org, and would love for folks to be there and be active around sharing ideas and best practices and challenges. Find and connect with giving circles in their living room, invite them to the party. That's great. I love the whole party theme. Do you work with Wings? Yes, Wings is one of our partners, or we're a part of Wings, however you say that.
Mm-hmm.
Global Fund for Community Foundations. I don't know about that one.
I think we have a call scheduled for next month actually with them.
Oh, amazing. Wonderful. These are all great ideas. So what we would really love to leave you all with in our final few seconds here is just that we feel like we came up with a vision out of thin air through a lot of hard work. We made it happen, and all of these ideas are possible too. We just need all of you to stick with us, keep doing this great work with us so we can build this exactly how we want to. So thank you all for joining today and being a part of this movement and this work. And we'll be following up with these ideas because they're all super exciting.
Yes, and especially, something that I just want to add before we leave is that I know that most of you are giving circle leaders. So always think that, to involve also your giving circle members, right? Sometimes, we get so caught up in, the chair and co-chair of giving circles. And when we bring new ideas from other members of the giving circles, that could be, that fuel that your giving circle needs just to be more strategic, to be more innovative, to be more nimble. So just involve all your giving circle.